the Greek word gamos. Gamos means marriage, but we find here hupandros gune, married woman. So gamos is the common word for marriage. Find it in the New Testament many, many times. But here Paul uses a different word, gune hupandros, the only usage found in the whole of the New Testament, and it is used to communicate what? Under a burden, under bondage. Literally, it means a woman under her husband. A woman under her husband, bondage, and under a burden. And you can see why New Testament writers wouldn't want to, have women associated with this word generally. It's not very good for women. Right? Right? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, just making sure I'm not the only one that, is into, women's rights and all that, and this politically correct person that I am. Not. But look at Numbers chapter 5, verse 20 in the Septuagint. And again, you will find the same word used to describe a wife's unfaithfulness. Hupandros. Hupandros, a woman who's gone a-whoring. A woman who's gone astray from her husband. Because there's the linkage between verse 2 of what Paul's about to explain is linked, and we'll read it later, to the book of Numbers, in the book of the law, chapter 5 and verse 20. Because the law of the husband, as we're delving into this, it unarguably deals with a sector of Torah that Israel, once bound to, is now released from. It deals with a sector of Torah that Israel, once bound to, is now released from. And that's what he's going to go into. It's the book of the law's condemnation of sinners is no longer applicable to the redeemed. Do you understand that? This is quite simple. But it's been made so mysteriously complicated because we have had a false dichotomy shoveled at us from the pulpits for over 2,000 years. But really, just like the bed, the house, it's quite simple that a child can understand it. But we have got to unlearn thousands of years of dogma and doctrine. So it's very complicated to us. But it really isn't. It really isn't. You see, the book of the law, listen, the book of the law was designed to control, never to transform. It was designed to control, never to transform. And is Yahweh an Elohim of control, or is he an Elohim of transformation? No, Alcoholics Anonymous is about control. And they'll shove a whole bunch of false deities at you to try and control you into submission. But Yahweh is about transforming the heart, transforming the man, and transforming the character, because then you have a genuine change. So control will only temporarily, it's a big word for me today, temporarily, what will it do? Contain a perilous situation. It can contain it. We can put you in prison. Control you. But if there isn't a transformation within, the moment you're released, you're going to go back like a dog to its vomit, right? Because there wasn't a transformation. So you cannot serve an Elohim of control. That's what the Egyptians served. The Pharaoh was the great god of control, and he controlled his subjects through what? Tyranny. But Elohim is the Elohim of transformation, and that is through choice, which is true freedom and change. So Deuteronomy 24 is used as a placeholder comparison for a man and woman's previous life of sin and its consequences. You see, the law of the husband within the book of the law is in place because of a condition of presumed sin and presumed guilt. The presumed sin and the presumed guilt of the bride, because she strayed outside of the house. And now, because of that, the bride will face curses and penalties that are contained only within the book of the law. Verse 3. So then, if while her husband lives, she is married to another man, if the analogy now is Israel is the bride, Yahweh is the husband. And if Yahweh is up on the mountain alive communicating with Moshe Rabbeinu, he's alive and he still lives. And then you're down at the foot of the mountain whoring with another god, committing adultery. What's the consequence going to be? And this is what's explained in verse 3. So then, if while her husband lives, she is married to another, shall she then be called an adulteress? Of course she is. That's the charge of Israel at the bottom of the mountain. They are adulterers. But if her husband is dead, she is free from the law. What law? The imposed law that was placed upon her to control her, put her in prison, if you will, until the time of Reformation. Somebody's got to die. Who's got to die? The only way she's going to be released from that law is if the who dies? The husband dies. Yahweh is going to have to die in order to free the bride from the imposed law that was there to control her, never transform her. Amen. To control her, never transform her.